Leica have just announced the Leica Q3 43. The 43 standing for 43 millimeters, which is as close to the human eye as possible. So in that retrospect, what you see is what you get, which means portraits are going to have very low distortion and look quite accurate to what you see in the natural world just in general. The usual Q3 comes with a 28 millimeter. This one's actually got a 43. Which gives you just a little bit more range and a little bit more flexibility with what you're actually shooting, which is actually super useful when you're doing street photography or you're just out and about in general. The lens itself is absolutely spotless, with the ability to be able to get some incredibly sharp and very good looking photos. Now, the Leica Q3 43 has some quite interesting specs here. It's a 60 megapixel full frame sensor with a fixed lens. The new lens here is a aposuchron 43mm f2 aspherical, which means it's nice and low light. When you compare it to the likes of the X100-6, it's a little bit of a tighter focal length. But when it comes to a full frame sensor, you're actually truly getting that depth of field that you really want to out of the lens. And that here is the most important factor. So with the 43mm focal length, you've actually got a new shooting range of crop factors applied to that 60 megapixel sensor. So first of all, you can shoot 43, which I'm really expecting you not to be very surprised at here. But you can also go to 60, 75, 90, 120, and then 150 millimeters, which means you've really got the range there to be able to take any kind of photo you really want to. Your chromatic aberrations and all of the defects that you would usually find in normal lenses will be pretty much gone here, making sure that you can really capture that fine detail without any sort of discrepancy at all. And you know, that's a really nice feature to have in and of itself. You've also got a grey leather finish tube around the outside of it, making it sure that the camera actually really stands out and looks really nice. I mean, that's one of the reasons why people like Leicas in particular. Unlike with the Leica M series cameras, you do actually have autofocus, which if you are looking at a Leica might be something that you actually really want in the system. Don't worry, you can turn this off and you've actually got a really smooth focus ring there in order to manually focus your lenses. But of course you have the ability to use autofocus, and it's an advanced autofocus system. And I will admit, throughout the day, it's pretty much grabbed all of the targets that I've actually wanted it to. And, you know, we've got some pretty cool photos out of it. Because this has basically got a lot of the features that's in the SL3, can actually shoot up to 8K video. And you can shoot that both in cinematic ratio as well as normal. And then also rolling down through the ranks, you can also do that in 4K. Making this a competent kind of travel camera if you are looking to do that kind of thing with the camera. Not necessarily something people choose for video or Leica cameras, but it can do it, and it can do it pretty competently. Like the Leica SL3, it doesn't actually have any of the buttons marked out in any way, shape or form, so you can really put your own custom way of actually shooting with this camera onto it, which I think is one of the most important parts when it comes to cameras, really customizing the control that you have over it. And you're probably not going to be surprised, but you also have all of the Leica looks. So if you want to have a slightly less kind of raw approach to your photography, inside of this camera are a number of really good presets for you to be able to capture whatever you want to, essentially. So where does this sit really in premium compacts? We did a video on the Leica Deluxe 8, and that was a Micro Four Thirds sensor, so it's definitely above that. £5,900 price tag to the actual camera. But it's powerful, it does what it says on the can, and it's really good. I mean, even comparing this to the X100, this is far outperforms it as well. And well, you're not really surprised here for that kind of price tag anyway. And of course, when it comes to the X100, you've actually got an APS-C size sensor, and with this, you've got a full frame sensor. So you're probably asking yourself, what's the actual benefit here? When it comes to actually having a full frame sensor, you're actually going to have better low light performance. So what have you ultimately got here? You've got a very powerful camera. Something which is going to be great for street, great for doing portrait photography, great for your everyday use. For me personally, I do like a 28mm focal length, but with the 43mm focal length of this camera, I feel like I'm more comfortable and in my element. Again, I tend to prefer shooting between 35 and 50mm. So having a 43mm here is absolutely perfect, and something I am actually really happy with shooting. When it comes to actually working out if it's worthwhile for you, this is a decision for you to make up yourself. Personally, I think the 43 focal length actually complements the camera absolutely perfectly. It's something which gives you the right amount of depth as well as benefit from the aperture and the low depth of field. And even with this camera, you've actually got the ability to shoot macro here as well, which hopefully I'll be able to get some examples of on the way back. Looks like the rain's about to die down and I've got a little bit of a long walk ahead of me, but let me know what you think down below. I'm actually very impressed with the camera and I'm actually interested to see what comes next with the Leica lineup, especially when it comes to premium compacts. I think it's an actually really interesting area to talk about, and it's something that I feel like you guys are very interested in too. So again, any sort of questions, anything you want me to cover in the future, make sure you put that in down below. Please like, follow, and subscribe if you want to see more. Have a good day.